W4, Mike Papa Sierra.
W4, Mike Papa Sierra, 59 Orange.
Hey, Roger, W4DW, W4MPS, 59 Johnston, Juliet Oscar Hotel.
Okay, thanks a lot, and have a good time.
Have fun, thank you.
You bet. Whiskey 4 Delta Whiskey, North Carolina.
In this series of videos, we're focusing in on some of the North Carolina QSO Party's top finishers. They'll be sharing some secrets, showing us their equipment, and explaining how they operate. Today, we're talking to Jim, K4QPL, and Tad, K3TD, who regularly operate the NC QSO Party in the mobile category. In 2020, they activated 14 counties, logging 682 QSOs. Over the past 4 years, they've activated over 50 counties and logged over 2,000 QSOs from the mobile. Let's find out how they do it.
Hello everybody, I'm Marty W4MY, and we're here at the AC4 Zeto Hamfest today with Jim, K4QPL, and Tad, K3TD. And the reason we're here is because we want to have everybody meet the voices and key fists behind the guys they're having QSOs with in NCQP. So we're going to turn it over to Jim and Tad, and they're going to explain their mobile setup we have here. So Jim, take it away.
Okay, good morning everybody, and thanks Marty, and thanks to you and Mark and all the others that organize NCQP. That's a great, one of the best QSO parties going, and Tad and I have enjoyed it for several years now, and we really do enjoy getting out on the road and making cues. We're hearing working people. It gets to be a bit of a party. People, you work people and then you change bands or change counties and they're back with you again in another pileup in about every 15 minutes or whenever. And we sort of share the duties a little bit. The problem with Tad is a great sideband operator, and my preference is CW. The difficulty is that mobile, with the limitations on power and antennas, sideband doesn't get out quite as well as CW, and there's not as much activity on the bands. So CW tends to be our primary mode, and so I get stuck with most of the operating. On the other hand, Tad is a superb navigator, and we'll show you that we use the old-fashioned maps that have all the little side roads and everything, so we can always find our way somewhere. And
I've learned an awful lot about the roads in North Carolina by navigating. I'll tell you, it's a lot of the QSO party is a lot of fun.
Let me ask a question to Ted. Ted, how important to your strategy is driving?
Well, it's important because we want to make sure we spend enough time in each county, be aware of the county lines, and that Jim is aware when we're going from one county to another, because he might say, hey, hold up here, I got quite a pileup, let's wait right here, or go head on, the pileup's thinning out, we'll go to the next county. So that's a lot of the strategy, I think, because what we really want to do is keep Jim busy the whole time.
That's right.
It's also important for driving that he stays on the road. So what we do is the driver's seat is the nav position, and the second seat is where the rig's set up, which we'll show you in just a minute. We use N1MM software, which has a great capability for QSO parties as a rover. You simply, every time you change counties, you put in the county you're in, and it will automatically log that county, and it will automatically send a CQ with a /WAK, for example, for Wake County. And so as soon as we change counties, Tad says, coming up on Cumberland County, I log in the change of county, and by the time we hit the county line, we're sending /CUM or whatever. So that's the procedure, and we're not driven about it. We stop and have breaks and enjoy ourselves as well.
Tell us about this great signal you put on the air and your system that you use.
Well, yeah, what we have here is the Tar Heel screwdriver. This is a full power antenna, and it will tune from 10 to 160 meters. Generally speaking, it's used between 20 and 80 meters. And for quick band changes, we also have a 20-meter ham stick mounted on the front of the car, So if we're on 40 and we want to listen to see what's happening on 20, we can just do an antenna switch and we're automatically back on 20 meters. Later in the day, when 20 goes out, we'll put the 40 meter ham stick in the front and tune this radio down to 80 meters. So we don't have to wait while the screwdriver is tuning. We can QSY.
Yeah, Jim has it down to a science when it comes to that kind of thing. How can we be more efficient and make as many cues as possible?
Maybe you'd like for me to show you how the station, how we work when we're operating. Probably without me in there, you can see a little bit more of the station, and then I'll show you a little bit about what we do. We've got to use a standard laptop, and the radio is a Elecraft K3 with a P3 pan adapter. When we're on the road, we operate the radios direct to the car battery. Right now I've got a portable battery in just to show you, but the antenna is tuned with the little homebrew box there that has a turns counter that we can put in. We can try to remember approximately what the frequencies are for the screwdriver, and when we change bands or change frequencies, we can trim that up a little bit. When we're operating, I'm usually in here like this, and just doing this, for example. Let's see here, let me get this set up on.
Can I ask you a couple of questions while you're doing that?
Sure.
One question I got asked a lot was, when you're sending by hand, do you end up with a lot of bumps as you're going down the road? How does that work?
Yeah, you have to be a little more careful with that. You have to you'll get those every now and then.
So for anybody who is listening to you on the air, they don't know you're going down the road. You know, they don't have that perception. So if you make some mistakes, you'll kind of understand why.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing that there's so much more activity on CW. Plus, it's so much faster. That in a time it would take me to work 5 folks on sideband, Jim can work 35 folks on sideband.
Yeah, it's very.
I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
So we might occasionally, you know, maybe in each county we might spend 2 minutes on sideband and 58 minutes on CW.
How is it that you manage working between sideband and CW? What's your strategy as far as when are you on sideband and when are you on CW, and how would somebody know this?
So we're going to spend the vast majority of the time on CW because it's much more efficient and there's more folks to work. So, but when the pile up thins out, or if we've got extra time in that county, we'll also call CQ on sideband, and hopefully we're 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people. But on CW, Jim will run stations, and it's just so much more efficient.
Is there a schedule that you do that, or is it just pretty much as it happens?
It's as it happens. It depends on what time of day is it, and what county are we in, and how wanted is the county. I mean, there's some counties that we have folks in Europe that will email us before the contest and say, hey, let me know, wait, are you going to be in this county? Are you going to be in that county?
So somebody who, for example, doesn't do CW
Mm-hmm.
and only following you and wants you on sideband on phone, how would they know where you were and
well, what they would need to do is be listening on the frequencies that we're going to be using. We'll announce on CW if we're going to sideband, and announce on sideband if we're going to CW. So, but it's because it's impromptu. It's not scheduled.
Okay, very good.
The other thing is that people do it. There's a lot of spotting. I mean, we get picked up on this, particularly on CW. You get picked up on the RBN, and people will pick up that where you are. The other thing is that for the QSO parties, we use your suggested frequencies first of all. For mobiles, we'll tend to be as close as we can to the suggested frequencies, and then what we do when we QSY, when we change bands, I try to come back to the same frequency I was on when I left that band, unless somebody else has picked it up in the meantime, and then I move off a few kilohertz. So people find us pretty quickly. In fact, a lot of times they'll be listening. I joke about it. It's like in bicycling, in the they call it a peloton. I sometimes look like it's a peloton because we've got maybe 50 stations following us from one county to the other, and they're sitting there, and the minute I say, now Pender County, boom!
Yeah.
There's a pileup.
There's a
an instant
pileup.
pileup.
Yeah. What is just fundamentally for somebody who doesn't understand about the strategy of mobiles? Why do mobiles have such a higher score than say somebody in one single county? What's the reason for that?
Well, it's because two things. One, we get a multiplier for every county,
Right.
and the second thing is we can work the same stations every time we change counties.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
so if we can do 15 counties and we work 50 people in each county, you know, we're getting our number high.
Yeah, we can work OM2VL 20 times during the contest.
Right.
And I must say, and I'll say this for the participating stations, they have very good ears. They have very good ears. I'm amazed because we're hearing stations. I mean, stations are calling us that I can hardly hear. And of course, we have receiving is also difficult in a mobile because we don't have the same capabilities. We don't the same antenna limitations that you have for transmitting.
Right.
Are there for receiving as
And
well.
you're coming in and out of noise.
Oh,
you
God.
never know what. I mean, somebody will think, well, why weren't you hearing me? Why weren't you hearing me? Because you've gone into this transmission line noise. You know.
Sometimes we'll get on the rural road and there'll be line noise for 5 miles. And so what we normally do is if I get into heavy line noise, we'll say, I'll send da-da-da-da-da, means wait. And I'll say noise, and the people that are the people in the contest, they're used to that, and so they'll sit there patiently until we pass the noise, and then I'll say CQ, and the pileup starts again. And so it's totally different from any other kind of operating. It is contest operating. So if you have good, you're good in contest skills, you'll do well in mobile, but on a mobile contest. But it's because you do have the pileups are there. I mean, and they're accentuated by the noise, by the bumps, by everything else, and the weak signals. I mean, but it's fun. I mean,
It's
that's
a lot
the
of fun.
big thing.
It's a lot of fun.
And we really do try to make it fun, and we try to make it fun for the people on the other end, which is what we go for. I don't even care about our score. We do it. Tad and I go out and we do it to put North Carolina on the air.
That's the key. That's the key.
For the people. We are the DX, so to speak, and we're the reason that all of the people around the country and around the world are calling in. So I don't worry about my score. I mean, we could get on the interstate highways and roar up and down the interstates, and we could probably get a bigger score. But we try to go to rare counties, and after every contest, we get dozens of QSLs, people wanting that particular county for their county hunters.
Right.
And I also appreciate the fact we normally use Tad's call because it's shorter, and he gets to do the QSL.
That's right. Yeah, he gets all the NRC cards.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Well, is there one more thing? We're about ready to wrap it up here, and we do appreciate you guys showing us the setup. It's really great. In conclusion, what's the final takeaway?
Well, I think for me, if there's anybody out there that's never operated in the North Carolina QSO party, they don't know what they're missing. They ought to get on, whether it's portable, mobile, or from their home station or wherever. If you get on for an hour, you're going to have a great time.
And I think that's exactly right. And one of the things that we will also try to do is we will try to vary our bands to make us available to other. To as wide a geographic area as we can, and that's also very important because we don't want to forget the Europeans and the others, and even the close end people. I mean, we get the same complaint sometimes. Oh, well, we can only work you on 80 meters. Well, I'm sorry, I can't work 80 meters full time.
Yep.
Right.
So,
That's great.
So thank you all.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Well. Okay. This year, I want to remind everybody that the North Carolina QSO Party is going to be held on February 28th. 10 a.m. Eastern Time to 8 p.m. That's 1500 Zulu to 0100. And we just invite you to come and work Jim and Tad on sideband and CW, and all the other mobiles are going to be out there, and everyone else. So this is Marty, W4MY 73, and we'll catch you in the QSO party.
Fantastic.
Good deal.